Jenna Ortega before and Jenna Ortega now.
Jenna Ortega ruined her face. Bro, what is with these celebrities getting these weird plastic?
If she had buccal fat pad removal, it could present itself as an indentation like you can see in this after photo.
Hi, I'm Jenna Ortega,
Nice.
and I'm so excited to be announcing that I am the new Rouge Dior ambassador.
It's really hard to judge from these photos. You can't actually say that she's had any plastic surgery done.
The internet will hype you up one day and tear you apart the next. And no one knows that better than Jenna Ortega. At what should have been a career-defining moment, the premiere of Wednesday Season 2, all eyes should have been on her performance, her partnership with Dior, and her rise as one of Hollywood's most in-demand actresses. But instead, the conversation flipped. Suddenly, her face was trending, her look was being dissected, and trolls were out here playing fake surgeons. What should have been a night of celebration turned into one of the most toxic beauty debates Hollywood has seen in years. And what started as innocent speculation quickly spiraled into bullying, conspiracy theories, and a reminder of just how brutal the spotlight can be. But here's where the story really begins. The night started like any other red carpet spectacle. Cameras flashing, reporters shouting, stars posing. Then Jenna Ortega stepped out and stole the show. She wore an all-black gown that looked like it was designed straight from the Addams Family playbook. Long, flowing fabric, leather accents that gave off gothic luxury, smoky eyes that made her gaze even sharper, and bleached brows that pulled the entire goth fantasy together. Fans gasped. Critics called her one of the best dressed of the night. She was serving Wednesday Addams chic without even trying. But online, a darker conversation was already forming. Instead of celebrating her career moment, people zoomed in on her face. And that's when the buccal fat removal rumors started. And almost instantly, the internet shifted gears. What started as fashion critique turned into a forensic investigation. People pulled up old photos, lined them up side by side, and zoomed into every angle like detectives. It wasn't just, she looks different, it was strangers swearing she had surgery. Comments compared her to a PS1 character, others mocked her with thriller dance jokes. And it spread fast. TikTok edits, Reddit threads, gossip forums. Everyone was playing cosmetic surgeon from behind a screen. But this was only the beginning, because things were about to get a lot darker. And here's where the obsession kicked into overdrive. For those who don't know, buccal fat removal is a cosmetic procedure where surgeons literally remove the fat pads inside your cheeks to make your face sharper and slimmer. Celebrities like Chrissy Teigen have admitted to it. But here's the catch. It's permanent. You can't undo it. And that permanence is what trolls latched onto. They insisted Jenna had ruined her face forever. They painted her as another victim of a Hollywood trend. Every shadow, every contour, every change in lighting became proof. Makeup and styling were ignored. Growing from 15 into adulthood, dismissed. And once that rumor stuck, it spread like wildfire. But the speculation didn't stop there. It got mean. What started as whispers turned into full-blown bullying. Suddenly, headlines weren't asking questions anymore. They were making declarations. Jenna Ortega ruined her face. She'll regret this forever. It wasn't curiosity anymore. It was cruelty dressed up as gossip. And the way people piled on made it worse. Even those trying to defend her accidentally fueled the fire. One fan wrote, "It looks cool. You can always go back later." But here's the thing, you can't. Buccal fat removal isn't like changing your hairstyle, it's permanent. That comment alone showed how little people actually understood what they were talking about. Still, the narrative spread like wildfire because it was easier to assume the worst than to stop and think. And gossip blogs weren't about to let it go either. The rumor made money. Articles with dramatic thumbnails and clickbait titles popped up across YouTube and TikTok. Some videos racked up millions of views by zooming in on before and after photos, speculating on whether Jenna had gone too far. The truth didn't matter. Clicks did. Even plastic surgeons were dragged into the conversation, many of them pointing out that the changes could just be from makeup, lighting differences, or natural aging. They explained that going from 15 to 22 changes a face dramatically on its own. But by then, nobody cared about logic. The mob had already made up its mind, and anything that didn't fit the surgery narrative was ignored. And the harshest part? The tone shifted from speculation to personal attacks. Comments calling her sick, starved, or plastic started to dominate. Jokes turned into insults, and insults turned into campaigns of body shaming. Even well-meaning fans couldn't outshout the wave of hate. And through all of this, Jenna's silence became another weapon for the trolls. Every day she refused to speak, The rumors grew louder. People took her lack of response as confirmation. In reality, it was her way of protecting herself, but the internet twisted it into proof, and that silence would only make the next storm even bigger. And this is where the double standard jumps out in full force. Male celebrities transform their looks constantly, and the world applauds. The Rock bulks up for roles, drops weight for others, and his changing body is celebrated as dedication. Zac Efron's jawline sparked endless debate, but the tone was almost playful, more curiosity than cruelty. When men in Hollywood change their appearance, the internet shrugs it off as aging gracefully or simply training hard. But when a 22-year-old woman dares to show up with bleached brows, sharper contour, and gothic-inspired makeup, suddenly it's a crisis. Suddenly, it's not artistic expression, it's a scandal. The narrative shifts from she's experimenting with her style to she's destroying her natural beauty. And the hypocrisy doesn't stop there. Male actors openly admit to cosmetic procedures, hair transplants, Botox, even jaw reconstruction, and the media frames it as refreshing honesty. Meanwhile, when young women are even suspected of surgery, they're accused of faking it, selling out, or setting bad examples. It's a lose-lose game. If they stay the same, critics call them boring or irrelevant. If they experiment, they're accused of being ruined. And this isn't new. Hollywood has a long history of policing women's appearances while excusing men's. Actresses are told their careers peak in their 20s, while male actors can headline blockbusters into their 50s and 60s. Women are expected to maintain natural youth forever, while men are praised for looking rugged as they age. The playing field isn't just uneven, it's rigged. Jenna's situation is just another reminder of how unfair this game is. She bleaches her brows for a premiere and experiments with a dramatic look. And instead of celebrating her boldness, the internet treats it like a scandal worthy of investigation. What should have been a conversation about artistry and fashion becomes a witch hunt over cheekbones and brows. And just when it seemed like the storm of rumors and bullying might fade into the background, another major career moment reignited the fire. And that's when the Dior campaign dropped. But instead of saving the conversation, the Dior campaign only made it worse. On paper, this should have been Jenna Ortega's biggest career win yet. Becoming the face of Rouge Dior, a position reserved for global icons and timeless Hollywood legends, was proof that she had leveled up beyond Netflix star to international fashion powerhouse. For most actresses, this kind of campaign is the dream. The rollout was stunning. She appeared in sequined gowns that shimmered under soft studio lights, bold red lips painted on with precision, her hair styled into loose waves that balanced the elegance of old Hollywood with a modern edge. Every shot looked like a magazine cover, timeless glamour reimagined through Jenna's sharp, youthful energy. Behind-the-scenes clips showed her laughing with the crew, flashing her natural smile and radiating the kind of quiet confidence that made fans love her in the first place. Fans celebrated online. They called it a major breakthrough for a Latina actress who had risen from Disney roles to one of the most prestigious fashion ambassadorships in the world. They hyped her up as the new face of beauty, applauding her ability to move seamlessly from television to luxury campaigns. For a moment, it felt like everyone was ready to acknowledge her hard work, but trolls weren't going to let her breathe. Instead of focusing on Dior, they dragged the same old surgery rumors into the spotlight. Once again, the conversation wasn't about the artistry, the achievement, or the global recognition. It was about her face. People flooded the comments section with accusations, zoomed in on campaign photos, and compared them side by side with her red carpet look, as if they were analyzing a case file. And here's the absurdity. These campaign images were styled, lit, and retouched by professionals. That's standard for luxury fashion. Every beauty ambassador in history has had their photos edited, but trolls twisted it into evidence. They claimed her face had been altered digitally to hide surgery scars, or that the campaign's retouching proved her natural look was gone forever. No matter how professional or artistic the photos were, people insisted on turning them into proof of a conspiracy. And that's when it became clear that this wasn't even about fashion anymore. It wasn't about Dior. It wasn't about celebrating Jenna's rise to the global stage. It was about control, about ownership. The internet had decided that Jenna's face belonged to them, and no matter how much success she achieved, they would keep dragging the conversation back to their obsession. Because for trolls, it was never really about the dress, the campaign, or the makeup. It was about keeping her boxed in. reminding her that in their eyes, she would always be defined not by her talent, but by whether she met their ever-shifting standard of beauty. And that's what made this moment so unsettling. Even at the height of her career, when she should have been celebrated like a rising icon, she was still being reduced to a target. And this is where things got cruel. For years, Jenna was praised for being natural. No filler rumors, no surgery talk, no scandals. People loved her for being herself. But the moment her look changed, even slightly, those same voices turned against her. It wasn't, "We love Jenna for being real." It became, "We only love you when you look how we want." That's not support. That's control. That's toxic. Some fans defended her, saying the look was bold and very Wednesday coded. But the divide was clear. For every supportive comment, there were 10 more dragging her. And through it all, Jenna stayed silent. And that silence spoke louder than words. No clapbacks, no PR statements, no carefully crafted interviews where she addressed the rumors head-on. Just silence. On one hand, it was a masterclass in self-control. In an industry where stars often feel pressured to defend themselves at every turn, Jenna refused to play the game. She didn't give trolls the satisfaction of a reaction. She didn't hand them a quote to twist into another headline. Her silence became its own kind of shield. A quiet refusal to be defined by speculation. But on the other hand, silence is a double-edged sword. For fans who wanted reassurance, it left a void. And on the internet, a void never stays empty for long. Speculation rushed in to fill the gap. Every time Jenna appeared at an event, whether it was a red carpet, a Dior campaign shoot, or even a casual paparazzi sighting, the same question followed her like a shadow. What happened to her face? And the cruel irony is that her silence, meant to protect her, became fuel for the rumor mill. People twisted it into proof. If she didn't deny it, then surely it must be true, right? The logic was flawed. But the internet thrives on flawed logic when it serves the narrative. At this point, people weren't even seeing Jenna Ortega anymore. They weren't seeing the Emmy nominations that proved her talent. They weren't seeing her Dior deal that solidified her status as a fashion icon. They weren't even seeing the fact that she was one of the most in-demand young actresses in Hollywood. All of that was invisible. Instead, they were seeing a target, a face to pick apart, a canvas for their own insecurities and projections. And that's what makes this part of the story so unsettling. The transformation of Jenna from an actress into an object of obsession. And the creepiest part? It revealed something much darker about fandom itself. Because when the internet can bully a 22-year-old actress into a spectacle over her cheekbones, it proves one thing: they were never rooting for her in the first place. They weren't cheering for Jenna Ortega, the human being. They were cheering for the version of her that fit their fantasy. And the second she stepped outside of it, they turned on her. And that silence, it wasn't weakness. It was the clearest sign that she understood something the trolls never will. You don't win by feeding the machine. You win by refusing to let it consume you. So here's the truth. Jenna Ortega didn't ruin her face. She didn't deserve this spiral of cruelty. What she did was step onto a red carpet and experiment with her look. That's it. But the internet turned it into something darker. It showed how fast admiration becomes obsession, how quickly support turns into body shaming, and how the spotlight can twist talent into target practice. And maybe, just maybe, it's time we stop treating celebrities like they exist for our approval and start remembering they're human. Because whether it's Dior, Wednesday, or the next red carpet, Jenna Ortega deserves to be seen for her work, not torn apart for her cheekbones. Drop your theories in the comments. I'll be reading all of them. And if you made it this far, thank you for sticking with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because trust me, this story is only getting bigger, only here at Gossip Slice.